What do you hate the most about Gen Z, my generation? I just wonder because I'm bored and I want to know. I feel like it seems that we are, or at least most of us are, more annoying at it. So what I gather from the comments is 1 Gen Z is 2 Gen X is 3 millennials are 4 boomers are 5 silent generation is silent AF. Skull. So do we all agree that we are all? As a fellow Gen Z, all I can say is, the things we decide to make TikTok trends are absolutely ridiculous. As long as they stay off my lawn, I don't hate anything about Gen Z. I don't spend a great deal of time thinking about you, to be honest. Where's your skateboard and loud music? As an almost dead old person, I have expectations. And #X200B, in my day, we cared enough about annoying people to carry a boombox around. I don't hate Gen Z, but I'm very concerned for them. Their nigh-complete immersion into virtual spaces and social media has borne some very unhealthy behaviors. Anytime I want to talk smack about Gen Z, I remember when I was 16, emo clothes and music were very trendy. Seriously, go look at a high school yearbook from 2004-07. Yikes. Hating different generations shows a lack of awareness and maturity. Anybody that hates your generation is forgetting that they were young and annoying at one point in their lives too. Now they are old and annoying. The lack of communication skills. I don't hate anything about Gen Z. In fact, I birthed 2 of you. The only thing that bugs me is how some of you call everyone older than you a boomer. Boomers are a specific generation. Believe it or not, I'm just an old millennial. I'm personally just upset that your generation has driven up the cost of thrift and vintage clothes and made it harder to find the gems. But also yay Zoomers for being so eco-conscious. As Gen Z, I hate our TikTok culture. Everyone is so performative, it's gross. I don't hate any group of people. My oldest son and his group of friends are all Gen Z. I see a bunch of kids that remind me of myself and my friends when we were his age. Tinkering with cars, hanging out, talking about girls, going out to eat, normal stuff. They seem to be hardworking, generally respectful and friendly guys. Not much. You guys took some of the heat of us millennials. This is coming from someone who currently works at a high school. I hate the dependence that so many of these kids have on their phones. I've had countless students almost walk right into my golf cart while I'm at a complete stop because they're so engrossed in whatever is on their phone that they lose all situational awareness. Old millennial here that doesn't hate Z at all. I do feel bad though that you guys didn't get to experience your fun years without cell phones. Concerts and parties were way more fun without 15,000 people filming videos no one wants to see. I don't hate your generation, I am worried for it. There's a lot of stuff that has been normalized to you and that you saw growing up without the sort of grounding in the real world that even us millennials had. Sure, we had free access and random videos of beheadings that we saw at 12, but I honestly think that was better than the endless stream of social media like Facebook, Instagram and TikTok nowadays. Some rando from the other side of the country or even the planet couldn't warp our perception of reality and couldn't pressure us into following certain trends and doing certain things or risk feeling left out. The guy getting beheaded in the video was not real, it was all fake and it was all a joke in our minds. You could be super popular on the internet and people would laugh at you because the internet was not a real place. Nowadays I've seen a lot of young people worrying about their perception online more than how they interact with others IRL. The puritanical moralizing. Salem witch trial vibes. It feels like Gen Z has revived the culture of extreme religious dogma. Back in the day, people would persecute you if you didn't follow religious virtues. Nowadays, Gen Z will persecute you if you don't follow their virtues. They value their selected virtues over things like freedom of speech, self-expression, and ambiguity. Ironically, they are the least religious generation, but somehow they feel like the most religious generation in how they act socially. BTW, Gen Z is so cool in so many ways. This is just an observation of some Gen Z, not all. You're really screechy. Personally, I find the obsession with gender and sexuality tiresome and the vaping is sad to see. Your voter turnout ratio sucks. Be more like those old evangelicals, turn it out. I'm just upset at what you guys have done to rap/hip hop. It's so egregiously bad and I'm so sick of hearing the excuse, I just like the beat. As a 90s kid I got to experience the golden age of hip hop. It makes me sick that legendary artists who made quality music for a decade or more and sold millions of actual, physical copy albums are being forgotten and ignored. Now any rapper who has been relevant for 2 years is being called GOAT. Rant over, I'm off to go take my Centrum Silver now. TikTok pranks, boomer here, and absolutely nothing. We got the same attitude from our parents/society back in the day. Our music, we were all doing drugs, etc. I am afraid it happens to every generation. Your generation is facing problems we didn't have to deal with. Ours faced problems our parents and grandparents didn't have to deal with. Take the put-downs with a grain of salt and do the best you can. That is all any of us can do. I don't hate them. I actually work with Gen Z, and most of them are just normal kids, but the things that get on my nerves the most are doing mean/rude, and cruel things for views on social media platforms. Negative attention is still attention. Mindset the majority of them have. You guys are so sensitive. One slight inconvenience and there's going to be tears from girls and why too much anger, and maybe tears from boys. I'm rooting for Gen Z. You are forcing real changes to the working class. People like to label you lazy just because you aren't falling for that hard work pays. It's okay to be motivated and hardworking, but don't spend your whole life slaving away to make someone else rich. Also, I feel bad for the condition the world and economy is in just as you're trying to start adult life. Tough times for sure. Hate is too strong a word. Boomer rant follows. What repels me is your generation's constant search for self-validation through other people's opinions. Whether it's appearances, relationships, or even thoughts and emotions, it somehow needs to be peer-checked before it can be accepted as legitimate. Should I be offended? I see this so much. Really? You don't know how you feel? You need external validation for something you find internally repugnant? Yeah, I get it. Before you call someone out for bad behavior, it helps to check to see if others have your back. But the wording, to me, implies that, should you get told that you ought not be offended, you would attempt to stuff your own emotions in favor of the groupthink. Funny thing, as children, yes, I did not come out of the with a MAGA hat riding a golf cart, but I was born during the Eisenhower administration, so I'm old. We were told over and over by our teachers the importance of critical independent thinking, and that we should form our own opinions rather than adhere to society's antiquated ways of looking at things. This was during the civil rights era of the 60s, and so I can see the point. New ideas about how the world ought to function were needed. But this had the inadvertent effect of producing a generation far too self-absorbed, and prone to swallow conspiracy theories without forethought. So the Gen's tendency to overcompensate towards constantly checking the prevailing group mindset is understandable, if exasperating, especially in a turbulent world where it's the ones at the edge of the herd that get picked off by the predators. Indrant. You are not annoying, you are fascinating. But, as a generation, you are just beginning to find your voice, and there's bound to be pushback from elders as that happens, and the easiest put-down of a younger sibling is to tell them how pesky they are. The 90s genes. They weren't cute then, they aren't cute now. Otherwise, as a millennial, I actually quite like Gen Z. I'm Gen Z, and I wouldn't say hate, I would rather say annoy. One thing that really annoys me about my generation is that we are too weak mentally. I've talked to older generations in my family and outside of my family, and they were and are much stronger mentally than our generation. I personally know and talked with older generations who went through war, sacrificed a lot to have a decent life today, and I admire how brave they really are. We aren't brave, we do not know what sacrifice really is. Our generation is weak and selfish. I don't dislike or hate you guys, I just wish you knew what life was like before the internet reached high speed, or how to read cursive, or that TV didn't have a pause button. or how to hold an imaginary phone properly. To be honest, I don't like how people have become snowflakes that can't live for 1 second without being offended, and while I do understand that certain things are offensive to everyone, at this point it has become ridiculous. You can't voice your opinion without offending someone, or causing a huge needless argument. And yes, I'm talking about the alphabet people and the everything is racist people and the people who believe that everything and everyone is bullying them. They know who they are. My generation, millennial, was doing planking back in the day. Some people died. So you're not really doing anything new, honestly. Kids too dumb for the approval of idiots on the internet. Film at 11. Literally. https://n.m.wiki.org/wiki/planking_fad #text equals planking %20 or %20 the %20 lying %20 do wn. Are %20 typically %20 touching %20 the %20 ground. Hey bro, wanna dance while we set ourselves on fire for 5 views? Bruh, your elders were planking, Harlem shaking, and their elders were shoving kids into phone booths. You're not the first to be young and dumb. You won't be the last. Hi guys. Today we are going to be doing the walking on old people's lawns challenge until they tell me to get off. The person who live here is named Comprehensive Cake 463. Let's start pretty much the same. I think the only thing that bothers me is how many Zoomers record, specifically in gyms. Just to make it clearer, it's not the recording by itself that bothers me, it bothers me that they end up recording other people while doing it. I hate how people normalize attacking other generations. As a person who hires and trains staff, I have had to think about Gen Z as an entity for a bit now. I've watched our staff pool largely turn over the past 15 years, and the Gen Z people entering the workforce carry with them some very different ideas about what work is. It's been a bit of a challenge at times, as the particular work that we do can be mentally/emotionally taxing, working with people with mental illness, and Gen Z seems quick to nope out or just say yeah, I'm not doing that, for a job that is feast or famine. Lots of downtime and easy days, with some acute periods of crisis or condensed, all hands on deck work. Many of the Gen Z staff just straight up don't want to go the extra mile that is occasionally needed to be successful in it. I'm thinking of you, daddy, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, kissing face. I've often said that if you want to blast music, you can do it only if you physically carry around a boombox. Show some commitment. Bluetooth speakers are for the lazy. They're just addiction behaviors. It's an addiction that the generation has no reticence about, because relative to drugs it doesn't seem harmful. It is though, for those reading this. You can develop addictions to pretty much anything, and social media is designed by professionals to be addictive. Yeah, I think older people like to pretend this is a complete act of free will on their end, the Zoomers, and fail to recognize they've also been manipulated by social media. Everything about it is studied and designed to capture your attention in unconscious ways. The same thing was said about millennials. I remember being in so many meetings where millennials were being put down for being glued to their phone and not wanting to work, addicted to social media, etc. Gen Z? Same barn, different coat of paint. My sister grew up in that era. I thought she was so cool, honestly. Smile love emo forever now, haha. I want to upvote this multiple times. I am Gen X. Not everyone fits into the mold that they are supposed to be. I have concern that the baby boomer generation is still in charge of everything. It's been recorded for centuries that the older generations thought the younger generations were lost. It's a cycle that's just based on how older people see the young. I don't ever see this changing, especially since the closer we get to 30 we start feel left out but still superior to under 21, so we bash their slang and their trends just like past generations did to us. This should be the top comment. Being addicted to at age 8 does that. Shakes fist. Generational fashion always bounces between dressed up and dressed down anyways. So those thrift clothes are gonna be cheap again in a decade when Gen Alpha wants to dress like 2010 Zara hype beasts. Always loved doing some potato grenade launcher. Man, concerts were also way more fun when official ticket reselling wasn't a thing. I can't remember the last time I even considered going to see a major act around me because I know it will cost hundreds of dollars more than advertised. Gen Xer, and I also don't hate Gen Z, but am worried for all y'all. Growing up and socializing almost entirely online has had some detrimental effects on your people skills, which affects your careers as you enter the workforce. Lots of likes doesn't always translate into real friendships. Online popularity is fleeting and not worth chasing because you'll drive yourself crazy. Your dating lives seem like an app-driven shit show. Dudes don't seem to want relationships so much as to be able to brag to other guys. It's gross. Both women and men end up incredibly damaged by this. Too many Gensers had to go through active shooter drills or actual shootings, because a daily school shooting was a sacrifice your elders were willing to make. I think that was probably more traumatizing than you realize, because it was normal to you. Y'all are getting called Generation Quit because you bail at the first hardship. In relationships that you do end up in, and in jobs. Not putting up with anything toxic is fair, and healthy. But expecting everything to be easy isn't realistic. Especially at your age.